just quickly record the meeting.
Great.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining. This is Kelly, and I run the Billy Bala UK Children Online Chinese Book Club. And here today we have Vivek he's a co-founder of Hambaanglaang, the project, and he also brought a few of his colleagues here as well. Is that right, Vivek?
That's right. That's right. Dr. Lau is here. Miss Color is here. Cici from Rainbow Seed is here.
Yes, that's great. Cool. So let me just quickly give a quick introduction of myself, and then we move on to the main agenda of the meeting today. So I have a Facebook page and also Instagram accounts, and in those accounts I share information about Chinese children books and some experience of my own teaching my children, because I'm homeschooling them Chinese. And also we run fortnightly story times, and together with Little Panda Cantonese. Is Carmen here in the call? So she's probably in the call as well. Hi, Carmen. Yes, so we run we run free story time and activities on a fortnight basis online. So, and that's free to join as well. And so, I mean, I do the things I do is because it's quite difficult in the English dominant speaking environment here in the UK for the children born here and trying to learn Chinese. And so I think creating platform like this would be able to help them to grow the love for the language. And so it's not as boring just to sit in a classroom on a Saturday morning, and whereas everybody else is going to play their football and tennis somewhere else. And so hence, so it's great that we've got so many people joining us. And so without further delay, I would like to pass on to Vivek, who's going to introduce himself and his colleague, and then we go through the main agenda of the meeting today. Off you go. Vivek.
Excellent. Thank you. Can you allow me to share my screen, please? Yep. Hi, everyone. Great. While Kelly sorts that out, yeah, there it is. There it is. It's all done. Great. Can you see the screen? Okay, great. Thank you, Kelly, for this invitation, and thank you, everyone, for making the time to be here on what could be many other alternative things you could have done. Deeply appreciative of your time. Billy Bala was one of our earliest supporters, and by buying our books when we just started in July, you gave us a big shot of confidence. So thank you very much for that. We're going to be always grateful. In this exchange, I'm going to explain what Hambaanglaang's thinking is behind the project, and how probably our methodology and materials could be helpful for you. I'll speak for about 20 minutes and then take questions from you for the rest of the session. I'll be very happy to rejoin after the 40 minutes time is over, so we can continue after that if you so wish. So I'll quickly sort of introduce our HPL family members who are here today. With us is Dr. Lau, my co-founder. The project is basically possible wholly due to Dr. Lau's linguistic insights, his experiences in teaching, his software design capabilities, plus his extensive network of friends and colleagues who have so generously contributed to content creation. Dr. Lau will join us for a Q&A session, so we're very lucky to have him today. Also here is Ms. Kwan from Minute Bookstore. Sea shipping takes a lot of time these days. So if you wish to buy books of Hambaanglaang and other publishers, Ms. Kwan in Minute Bookstore would be happy to service you. With us is Cici here today. Cici is a professionally trained educator from Hong Kong, has an excellent online teaching platform that's popular in Europe and UK. She uses some of our materials for her teaching, and you can see a teaching demo of how she teaches Cantonese and an article on our website blog. So please feel free to go to the website blog and see how Cici does it. She's one of the best. Also here with us today is Miss Kala. Bess is a primary school teacher from Hong Kong with more than 15 years of experience. She has just moved to the UK. She helped us write 10 stories of teaching Cantonese, teaching math with Cantonese. So we'll be releasing those stories sometime later this year. She's also helped us create a guideline linking our materials with the curriculum, at least the curriculum in Hong Kong. So for those educators who want that bit of information, please head over to the website in Educators Resources, and you can see that chart where our titles and how they are linked to the curriculum is explained. Miss Kala will hopefully work with us on more materials and try to bridge for us the informal and the formal academic environment. I think also here is Aquaria, one of our great sound recording artists, and maybe others who I cannot see, but thank you all for supporting us here today. Now, this talk is of use for those who are teaching learners who are not native speakers or have grown up in a non-Cantonese speaking environment like the UK or any place outside Hong Kong for that matter. It's good for those who want to prioritize language learning over character memorization. And also our focus is from kindergarten to primary 3. So all those who are looking for materials in the early learning space, I think would probably get a lot from this talk. We can all agree that learners in a for learners in a non-Cantonese speaking environment, Cantonese learning is a high bar to go over. It's one of the hardest languages to learn in the world. Even for learners in the formal education system in Hong Kong, Chinese instruction is challenging and a relief when it's over for them as a part of their formal training. So it is asking a lot from the learner. And as educators, as teachers, as homeschoolers, I believe you have to walk a very fine line between creating a love for the language and resentment for the language. So we at Hambaanglaang want these interactions to be fun. We want these interactions that you have with the learners to develop a love for Cantonese and be focused towards the maximum gains they can make in the least amount of time. So we have chosen storytelling as a base for language learning, which is the most natural way humans learn anything. And also our lessons are based on total physical response and action-based methodology for very early learning. Now, one thing which is worth mentioning and which is probably the key point of this talk is that there are many roads to the ultimate objective of written Chinese. They all those roads have to pass through a version of spoken Chinese. In our case, this is Cantonese. Written Chinese by itself does not work without a spoken component to be able to vocalize it. So we at Hambaanglaang believe that a learner must first strengthen the underlying Cantonese to a level of fluency before attempting to write in written Chinese. And in a non-Chinese environment like yourself, this strategy is easier to pursue because there is no pressure of the curriculum or from the school. we noticed that there are insufficient materials that build oral and written Cantonese skills. Oracy has to come before literacy. Understanding and speaking Cantonese has to come before reading to write Yutman, which is what written Cantonese is called, or the ability to write written Chinese. The quality of your written Chinese is directly related and springs from the quality of your underlying Cantonese. Most materials teach the identification of Chinese characters. They are focused on the character memorization aspect of language learning. So we believe that literacy in Cantonese first will prepare you for literacy in written Chinese, because there is almost a 70% overlap between written Cantonese or Yutman and written Chinese. This is a very important point. Get the foundational written spoken language to a high level of fluency before attempting the writing of written Chinese. Now, why do the materials sometimes seem so hard? For that, we have to address the issue of the deficit, the oracy deficit. A child born in Hong Kong in a Cantonese-speaking region, born to a Cantonese-speaking family, hears 6 to 15,000 Cantonese words every day, 6 to 15,000, through caregivers, their parents, their relatives, through the media that they consume, and through the environment that they live in. So by year 3, they have already heard these very important high frequency words more than 6 million times, right? So if your child with whom you're speaking Cantonese, but is living in a non-Cantonese environment, he's carrying this deficit, which becomes remarkably hard to fulfill when you look at the materials that are out there. So most existing materials assume that the learner is already advanced in Cantonese, as they are designed for the school systems in Hong Kong. So Hambaanglaang is designed to bridge this oracy gap between a very intense Cantonese environment and a non-Cantonese environment. And how do we do that? The first thing we do that is to build a scale, a graded scale, because a rather small number of words are very frequently used in any language. It may surprise you that 25% of English is only 10 words. 100 words comprise of 50% of spoken and written English for the most part. And a mastery of 1,000 words of English will make you understand more than 80% of the English language. Now, the same sort of ratio applies across languages. In some languages, a little bit better, in some languages, a little bit worse. But it's important to learn the highest frequency words in any language first. To do that, we had to build a graded scale for language where words would be arranged by high frequency and importance as we go up the scale. So this did not exist, and this scale was assembled by Dr. Lau and tested by Dr. Lau. And this then allowed us to write a lot of materials for each level of the graded scale from 0 to 7, which covers very early learning from kindergarten 1 to primary 3. Following the graded scale, the learner makes the fastest progress in language learning because you learn the highest frequency words first. You quickly understand a lot more of the language, and that builds a lot of confidence in you as a learner. The other thing you may have noticed in our material is our use of Yutping, of romanization, as the central collecting element in our materials. We have added in a standard Yutping font, we have added more cues and visualization. More rules of pronunciation in the font are visible along with the tones. Yutping is the support and scaffolding for all learning materials that we develop. There's a very nice blog post on our website that highlights the advantages of learning Yutping. I would heavily recommend that you folks have a read at it. It's both in English and in Chinese. Here is a panel from our material. You can see our graphical Yutping font that connects the character to its word-by-word translation in English that you see in our books and online materials. But we also have language support for a lot of other languages that are commonly spoken in Hong Kong. You can see the tones, you can see the long and short vowels and other rules. We have a very nice online manual that you can read that explains to you how our fonts bring you even closer to pronunciation in Cantonese and help you break the connection between the recording and romanization. So have a look at the instruction manual that is on our website. Graphical Cantonese or graphical Yutping can also be used to vocalize written Chinese. Here in this panel, you can see that this is the written form of this written Chinese that you can see, and Yutping does a great job of being able to vocalize that as well. Now, this sentence is very controversial that you see on top of the screen. Is it that only computers will know characters in the future? It seems that the growth of language learning technology is moving to character-less Chinese language learning. Just like the calculator replaced mental mathematics and the mobile phone has eliminated the need for us to remember languages, technology is also playing a role in this change. And what is driving it? What is driving it is the priority over language learning over character learning. So people are prioritizing learning the language rather than memorizing the characters. In these schools that your children will probably end up in or will aspire to end up in, Mandarin is taught in pinyin-only courses, and learners are encouraged to write in pinyin. Priority is language learning over character memorization. And one big reason for this is that speaking and reading of Chinese are acquired at different speed and can hold back the motivated learner. So we at Hambaanglaang are encouraging people to follow a blended approach. Use characters when you know them, and when you don't, then use Yutping so that your reading can keep pace with your ability to speak. Using Yutping and English word-by-word translation has helped us to make Cantonese accessible to all levels of instructors. An instructor who knows no Cantonese can use our materials to facilitate learning. We accommodate the full spectrum of Cantonese ability from zero Cantonese to the professional teacher. The two most important elements we found needed for language learning are commitment and time to the process. The importance of spending time to teach and learn is the most important aspect of language learning, in our opinion. If you don't make the time, you don't learn the language. The method, there are many methods out there which you can use, but without time and without your commitment and love to teach, the learner is going nowhere. To avoid resentment and to grow the love of the language, we request all instructors, all teachers here to be very clear on why the learner needs to learn Cantonese for. Is it to appreciate the language? Is it to talk to grandparents? Is this child going to take the civil service exam in Hong Kong? What are the short-term priorities for this child or this adult's learning of the language. And our materials are designed to help in every part of that journey, every aspect of that journey. Our materials complement a lot of excellent materials already in the market, which are focused towards written Chinese. For native speakers and teachers who want to learn Yutping, you can follow this link from our website to an 8-week program. This has been developed by Dr. Lau and his colleagues many years before, and it's a free program. Everybody can use it. It has worksheets and materials that you can download. So if you want to get better at Yutping, which will dramatically increase the scope of your Chinese manipulation, the ability to manipulate it, then please head over to the website and please take this course. We were talking about language learning technologies. Here on the screen, you can see on top a free open source software called Inject Yutping. And if you download this software, you can see every Chinese character with Yutping on top, anything on the web. I will share the link to this software with Kelly, and she'll distribute it to you. And at the bottom of the screen, you can see rhyme Cantonese input method, which allows you, if you know Yutping, to see the characters that correspond to it. There is another initiative in the market where they are developing also the ability to see, just like on our panel, you can see the Cantonese character, the Yutping, and the English character. There's also an initiative to develop the English so that you can see it here. You can see it here, and you can choose the right character. So that will go a long way to helping you type in Cantonese if in case the character is not clear in your mind. So the technologies are definitely there to help you. So there are many ways towards language learning. Some are classical, some are curriculum bound. And what I want to tell you is that there is a consensus in language learning that there should be large amounts of materials available for input through reading and listening at the right level. This is almost a key requirement. And it's the reason why English is so successful, because they have adopted the graded scale approach very early. And when from the very beginning, you start with the graded readers, and that helps you acquire English very quickly. And there's a lot of material available. So one of our goals, or how to use our materials, would be to use them as foundational graded content that you can then base your learning methodology on. For those who are creators of content and want to create their own materials, we have supporting software online, which is free to use and open source. Please use it. Please help us make it better, and hopefully contribute back to the Cantonese learning community, because what we need to do is to have high quality learning materials, open source, free for everybody in the public domain, so that any Cantonese learner can access them and benefit from them. One key change that we have been able to bring with our materials is the concept of the learning circle. We believe that any native speaker or any motivated person can now teach the language at the very early learning stages by using a step-by-step program. There's a very nice video on this, on the circle concept, that is on our lessons website. Please have a look. And it's an attempt to have community teach community, so that in places where teachers are not available or where time is tight, you can use a native speaker and to follow the program and learn the language at the early stages. And at the end, I want to let you know that our software is copyright free. Our videos, if you have a paid YouTube account, you can download them. The audio files, you can download them. The PDFs, you can download them from our websites. Our books, you can make copies of our books and use them freely without taking any permission from us. Very early on, our objective was to provide high quality foundational resources for all learners of Cantonese. To do that, everything is kept free and reusable. We are trying to see if we can balance free with sustainability. We are still unsure whether we can continue developing new projects, but the math is in our favor. Of the 68 million people in the world who speak Cantonese, we only need 1,000 families to buy a set of our books. And if they bought a set of our books, that will give us enough funding to then develop the next set of our books. So we believe that we will get there. It's not a very difficult thing to do. Feel free to donate to the project. Feel free to buy our books if you want to support us. But in any case, the materials are there. Please share them, use them, and help us improve them. I think that's all I have to say in terms of introduction. I'll be happy to take questions. Dr. Lau is here to take questions as well. And if you think the question can help everybody, please do ask it. If it is personal to you, please send us an email and we will reply to it. I'll pass it back to Kelly, and thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Vivek. Thank you. So questions. Let me start the question first, and then if anyone has any questions, just ask. So I've got this book here. Can everybody see my screen? Or yeah, okay. So I've got this book here, and Vivek or anyone in the team, could you quickly explain to us that how do we use this book with the materials and the lessons available on the website? I mean, like I can see this sound, this audio, and this video that we can use them together to kind of read aloud the storybooks. But other than that, you know, are there any recommendation of how do we use this material to go along? Like, is there a lesson? Is there a curriculum that we should follow? Is there an order that we should read the books, for example? Sorry, there's lots of questions already.
No worries. Dr. Lau, you want to go first?
Hi, this is Chuck from Hong Kong. When you use these books, I think first question is whether there is a curriculum or any order. I think one nice thing about graded readers is that we don't need to follow a strict curriculum. There's a curriculum at school, but with graded readers, if the child is interested in something, like you can pull out one graded reader that is related to that interest and just start straight away with the story. And my recommendation when you use this book is to read the story together with your child, but don't follow the Yuping panels yet. Let your child enjoy the story first, because one storybook can be read multiple times. And when I use the storybooks, I use them at least 3 times with the child. Like, of course, we're not reading that like 3 times in a row on the same day. Usually I will tell the story without looking at the text. I will be reading the text, of course, because that is prompts and hints for me. But the first time, I want them to know what the story is about. And the second time, I will go into some language features. I will explain some words that they may not know. And the third time, I will go deeper. Like there are harder questions that I will ask them. I will want to have more interactions with them in the third round. And there must be like lots of variation to this routine, but I think basically repeating the same book multiple times is the best way to consolidate their vocabulary and to make use of like different aspects in one graded reader. I hope that helps.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you, Dr. Lau. Is there any questions from the audience?
LPC from Carmen. Hi, thank you for the speeches. Actually, I got those books from Billy Bala from Kelly. I have two children, one 10 years old and one 8 years old. I try to contribute the books to my children, and actually the content is really good because they can't actually read Chinese properly yet. So I try to show them all the content about the story, and they are very inspiration of the sentence. So thank you very much. I'm LPC founder, and we have a few teachers who create their own material. But I'm planning to go for the Hambaanglaang materials teaching in our classroom. For example, like a story, other part teaching. Thank you so much for sharing this excellent material in the World Trade. It process of being mentally simulated to do and feel great. So specific to Cantonese Link and Judge Creative. So I would say have one of the first thing of the inspiration. So my question is, we feel of best practice in teaching, parental teacher of student engagement. So what are the different between the reading, like writing and speaking language to teach the children? What are the different?
Okay, I'll take this question too. So if you want to teach the children to write in standard written Chinese or 书面语 in the curriculum or in class, you may want to read out the Cantonese first so that they can recognize, they can map the spoken words to the characters, especially those words that are shared between Cantonese and standard written Chinese. So the characters in the panel is a great thing that connects the spoken words, the spelling, the yuping, the contour in terms of pitch, and also the shape of the character and the translations. So so when you read, you can point at some of these characters and let them sink in. Like, okay, this is the character. Hey, this is the character for box. You need that. This is the character for animal, 动物, and you need that in your writing. And in terms of conversion from Cantonese to standard written Chinese, I personally believe this can come at a later stage, but when you need to teach that, I think the concept is more like converting words. Like this word is mostly spoken Cantonese. We can have, okay, let's look at this flashcard. We can flip over this flashcard. So this flashcard on the front side, the front has the Cantonese word in Yuping or both Yuping and characters. And if you flip over now this word, let's switch this to the written form, and we can use this written form to form a standard written Chinese sentence. I'm sure there are I'm sure there are other strategies too, but this is one strategy that I use.
And
Okay.
Carmen, there is a very nice blog post on our website written by Cici from our group, and please see that it has some very specific techniques on what she uses. So have a look at that article. It'll give you some more clarity with some more examples.
Okay, actually, I saw the teaching material was great and inspiration.
Thank you.
Can I just jump
Yeah,
in quickly? Sorry, it's Kelly here. Because I have a free Zoom account, hence the meeting might drop off in any time now. But in that case, if everyone is interested and if everyone is okay with time, can I ask everybody to join back the meeting? And so
we got a message that this is going to continue. I got a message saying that this will continue. It's now going indefinitely. So maybe we continue, and if we broke off, then we'll rejoin.
Okay, great. Sorry, please carry on.
Sure.
Thank you.
Hello. Can it be my turn?
By the way, before you ask your questions, is it okay if we use some Cantonese in this room? If that's the case, like you can like use whatever languages that you feel the most comfortable with.
Sure.
Just a message
or
for
I
everyone.
can do both.
Okay.
So thank you, Vivek and Dr. Lau, for your input. I was wondering, what's your take on bilingual books? So let's say Cantonese and English, or even multilingual books. Do you see that as part of an aid or an obstacle rather to Cantonese learning?
I think it depends on how you use the books. If it is multilingual in the sense that after reading the English version, they will immediately forget about the Chinese text, then that may not be the best kinds of multilingual books. Like if one language is printed in small print and no one would care, then those kinds of multilingual books may not be the best. But if two languages have equal importance, and then if you have text in both languages and they are well designed for both languages, and for example, the Chinese version is not translatees. So you see, sometimes you see the books that that contain Chinese translation, but the Chinese translation was there just to provide some hints so that you understand the English text. Those multilingual books are not recommended. I think we should work on books that are manually crafted for both or multiple languages. And for books that
like using the font that you showed, for example.
Yep, using the usual fonts, and also both texts are written deliberately for storytelling, not. So I personally don't use books that are 100% translation of the two languages, because different languages will have different ways to express the same thing. They will have different perspectives when they look at the same story. So I think I prefer books that are slightly different in terms of the two languages. They don't have to be word by word translation, but I want to make sure that I can enjoy the story in either language when I use multilingual books.
Okay, yeah, I see what you're saying. So those kinds of books are more for learning the story or the meaning, but maybe not best for learning Cantonese language or writing or recognizing characters.
The point is,
did I understand well?
Yeah, we need to enjoy the stories in
Right.
order to learn.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks. And then we have Annie.
Oh, hi, I've just unmute myself. Hi, I'm from London, and I've got a 3-year-old. I was born in England, so I'm learning the language myself. 即係自己講得唔係咁好咧。咁咧，你哋個 係少少啦。咁你哋寫咗個書咧，我發覺我就係睇咗一兩本，即係買咗全 set 啦。跟住你係寫咗英文先，跟住寫咗中文噶嘛？咁係個 conscious effort，因為我有時想，因為我有時讀俾個仔聽係中文咧，跟住老公讀俾佢係英文咧，跟住嗰本書係即係我個仔會呢個書其實係兩個 story。Is that the purpose of every book?
Well, that's
Yeah.
that is just when, like Dr. Lau said, sometimes stories don't translate well.
Yeah.
Some things are so uniquely expressed in English or in Chinese.
Yeah.
And so I was, when we were designing these books, I had a decision to make. One was to tell the same story again in English.
Yeah.
But the word by word translation is already there. So if you know English, you kind of can figure out the story. On the panel, you can see the word by word translation, right? And I wanted to give more. I said, okay, can we give the English writer the freedom to look at the Chinese story and decide, okay, this is such a great story that I want to tell it again in English, or ask the writer to reinterpret it using the same pictures in any way that he feels brings out the best in that story. So I chose that method. It's more work for us, right? In this book, actually, there are so many books. It's not a storybook, it's a digest. There is a topic, and around that topic, we have cultural points. We have a Cantonese story. We have an English story. So we wanted to do more and give more to the reader so he could come back. These books could be there depending on where he was in his learning journey. Hopefully he will appreciate the Cantonese, he will understand the English, then probably he'll come back and read the Cantonese, then probably he'll be so advanced with his characters that he'll come back and read the cultural points. So it's basically, we were just wanting to pack it with more for the parent and more for the books. Some of it is environmental. When we are printing stuff, we might as well make it as packed as possible. Instead of one photo and one line, our stories, even level 1 stories, have at least 350 words. And because the parent is in the middle, because the parent is a very important part of this, or the teacher is a very important part, we thought the teacher could interpret or tell the story according to the learner's ability. And the biggest thing is that our platform is about creative writing. And we want to challenge the child to write the third story. Okay, somebody wrote an English story like this, the Cantonese story is like this. Now, how would you write the story? So we wanted to also trigger that in the mind of the child, that the same photos can have many different interpretations. So it was all of this. I realized it confuses a little bit, but we just wanted our books to have as much material as possible. That makes it more work for us, but I think in the end, you buy one thing that you can come back to several times.
Great, thanks for your answers. Yeah, the books are brilliant. So yeah, it's just good to understand that, because I do know what Dr. Lau now said about the badly translated books. Sometimes they don't make a lot of sense. So yeah, great, thank you.
Thank you.
And one more thing to add, I think most of the books were written Cantonese first, and then also at least separately done for Cantonese and English, and then we put them together instead of having English materials written first and translated into Cantonese.
Yeah, that's true. And if there are story writers here who want to write stories in English, please drop us a line. We need English writers so that they can reinterpret we have another 160 titles to write English stories for. So if there's anybody here who wants to write for us, we are very inclusive. We love mediocrity. So please, please don't hesitate to send us an email, and we'll send you a story to write.
And next, Helen. I think Helen is the next
Hello.
person. Hi, Helen.
Hi, I've got a question about adding in standard written Chinese. I've got 2 kids, and when I do reading things, I do like them to try and recognize the characters. And like you've got I've got a sample of your book here where you've got "Oh Ho Zhong Yi." It would be great if there was "Oh Ho Hey Fun" as well, so I can help them show that there's a difference. And because I'm English, I'm not from Hong Kong, but I'm bringing up my kids hopefully to be bilingual, and I'm not fluent in reading. I'm at Chinese school with my eldest to help him read. Having a material that's got that in as well would be amazing.
Thanks for using the books. And if you want to know how to convert Cantonese into written Chinese, you can go to the back of the book. Like the back cover has the has both versions, both the thanks, Kelly. Kelly's showing that page.
Okay,
So
see.
yeah, if you go to the back, you will see that comparison between Cantonese and standard written Chinese.
I'm looking for Kelly.
And then
It's not in Yutping. It doesn't use Yutping. That's right. And but yeah, I mean, yeah, it's like we spoke about it. The written Chinese part can come later.
Sorry. So Kelly, could I see that again? So I'd have to be able to read. Yeah. The problem is I can't read it all. But anyway, yeah. Okay, thank you. Yeah, it's just because I think personally, I find it a bit like learning to read English. It kind of extends their world, being able to pick up a book and read it and understand the Chinese behind it.
That will come. That comes later. But in order to build their oral proficiency, to prepare for that, we would like them to know all these basic words that they will hear in the environment if they have the chance to speak in Cantonese. Consolidate that part of their vocabulary and then extend their vocabulary to the lesser used words, those words from standard written Chinese or those Mandarin only words. They won't hear those words when they speak their version of Chinese. And also the other thing is when they may not need those characters immediately, because it's okay not to know every single characters when they start reading. It's okay to recognize like those important characters and have someone help them, guide them when they read their earlier books. And later on, when they are really okay with the characters, it's okay if they don't know the words. So after they are at that level, like if we use the scale of our books, it will be at level 6 or 7. They will have know enough words so that they can explore things and explore words that they don't already know. And I think at that stage, they will want to know more like written Chinese characters or written Chinese words. And by that time, that will come automatically.
Yeah.
So if you have those oral proficiency built up, by the time when they reach level 6 or level 7 of our books, then I think they will be able to understand standard written Chinese too. If those standard written Chinese texts are read to them, like or when they listen to the news, I think they will understand more by level 6 or 7.
Lovely, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I would like to add something as well, because I was thinking I can just hand this book over to my son and he will be able to pick it up and hopefully read it with pain, and then he'll be able to read the story himself. But however, you know, when I actually reading it with my son, it's actually not as easy as that, because we are learning written Chinese. So when I read storybook to him, I do read the written Chinese. So 书名语, I will read that as it written on the books, and so therefore he's used to that. But now this is a brand new set of whole characters and vocabulary. So therefore, like, he's not quite used to read something like that. But I think it's still very good to sit down with him and read the book together with him, and so that now he read the story actually in spoken Chinese as opposed to written Chinese. So I do get the point of not to put too much focus on the characters itself just yet, and it will come later time. But I think it's still important to kind of like get the fluency out and read it and get the literacy from those books. So that's my experience so far. Yeah.
How does the cultural points help you? Every page has a little cultural panel. Does that help trigger more conversation with the child?
Yes.
For you, Kelly?
Yes, definitely. It's very good, because like those culture points, and then it's actually asking questions, and so therefore it's like open-ended questions, and it does trigger additional conversation between me and my children. So that's very good, those points. Is Louisa Ken on the call?
Hi, yes, hello.
Oh, hi Louisa. You sent me a question. Would you like to ask that question to the Hambaanglaang team, or are you okay with that?
Yes, so yeah, I'm also not very good at spoken or written. Well, I can't really read Cantonese, and I'm sort of learning and trying to teach my daughter at the same time, and she's 4 years old. So I've just recently learnt about Hambaanglaang, so just wanted to know how I can use the resources to start teaching her to read Cantonese, and in a more structured way, because at the moment I'm just teaching her characters and she's coming up to 100 words now, I think, characters now, I think. So yeah, that would be really helpful.
So your daughter can write 100 characters and
read.
Okay, she can read 100 characters. That's a great achievement, and
That's great.
I think both things can happen at the same time. Like, on one hand, like your daughter can be recognizing these characters. That's the thing I do with my children too. When they are around like 3 to 4 years old, I would read those characters and ask them to recognize these characters from the surrounding. And at the same time, I would like them to know more words and listen to stories and like understand these structures, words and sentences. And if you use the books, then I would recommend reading the books in multiple ways. You can follow the text strictly so that they can see the characters and map the sound to the written forms. And at the same time, you can do a freestyle if you want to also practice your spoken Cantonese at the same time. You can do a freestyle storytelling and add ad hoc questions when you tell the story. But in order to bring your children back to the characters, when you mention something that is written as part of the text, you can point to that word when it comes to those words. It's like when you're talking about a story about animals, and the word animal is in the text. Other part of your storytelling can be not following the text, but when the keywords are there, point to the keywords. And even for kids who are monolingual, born and raised in Hong Kong, they don't necessarily learn all the characters at one go. So when I read one storybook to my 3-year-old daughter, I only ask her to recognize 2 characters or 3 at most. So after one story, if she could recognize those 3 characters, that's nice. If she cannot, that's also fine, because the most important part is the spoken inputs that I gave her. So that's my take.
Thank you. And also, how about the online resources? How do I use that to sort of work together with the books as well?
So we've got,
yep.
yeah, we've got the video for the story. We've got, so what the way we sort of saw it was, the way I saw it was initially is that for the casual Cantonese learner, see the video and enjoy the story, and then you can see the panel, you can follow along. So you start with the video, and then we included the audio file. So if you go to our website and you go to the level 1 on our website, you can see that there is the video, there is the audio file. So I was sort of hugely inspired by the bedtime story model, so that when my son was small, we would download all these stories for him, and he would go to sleep listening to stories. So so that stuck with me, and I said, okay, the audio file should always be present for every video, so that at night you want to cut out the video aspect, you want it to be audio, you download the audio for all the level 1 stories from the website, and then you have them in a playlist, and the child listens to them, the same words coming back to him in different contexts, different usage, building his level 1 comprehension. Also on the website is the PDF of the panel and the photographs. So at a later stage, when he's ready to start to read, you can first have him follow along with the audio file, and he can point out the characters on the PDF. And when he's ready, he can stop the audio, he can try to articulate them. So they're all there. They are for you to mix and match. And with everything, I think the great tragedy is that all the materials that are available from the professional bigger publishers are designed for the academic system. And they're designed for a level of Cantonese. They assume a level of Cantonese that does not exist in non-Hong Kong environments. Even for Hong Kong parents, they are hard. And to feel the pressure to be having to teach the child how to read or write at a very early stage, I think may put him off the language. When he is ready, he will signal you. So in the beginning, everything, I think every interaction with Chinese does not have to be a lesson. Every interaction with the language does not have to achieve some goal of literacy. It has to be just fun. It has to be a story. And it's like eating grass or formula milk. You have to read a lot to internalize it. You eat grass, it's not particularly delicious, but you need to eat it. You drink formula milk, it's not particularly tasty, but you have to have it. So it's about volume. And to read a story for entertainment's sake, to read it to bond with the child, to read it to make him love the language, so later on in life, he can still have a warm, open feeling towards it. To read it so that he can win at the language, I think is more important for us when we develop these contents. There is no academic agenda on our side. There's plenty of people with academic agendas, and sometimes children suffer because of that.
Thank you very much. That's ever so helpful. Thank you.
Thank you. I think we over time now, but probably one last question from Katie. You have a question?
I see Anna also has a question. I can see that. Maybe after Katie.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you, Kathy. Yeah, I want to ask about story writing that Vivek mentioned about. So I am bilingual. I speak in Cantonese, and I actually started writing a Cantonese story so I cannot say I'm a story writer. It's really just out of spontaneity. I started writing this story first in Cantonese based on personal memories, and then I translated in English. And then I've worked on it for a year with a friend who draws, who was also just an amateur illustrator, quote unquote. And so it's almost done, but just I wonder how I could fit in. Is there any way to fit in with Hambaanglaang?
Hambaanglaang is like Hotel California. You can check in anytime you want. You can never leave us. So yeah, I mean, it's really, we have a very low, it's a community project. Everything is donated by community. Like I said, it's about volume. And if you have already worked on something for a year, by all means, send it to us. We would be very happy to help you with the production of that story if you so wish. Our request from all writers is that they give us content under CC 4.0 condition, because all our material is CC 4.0. That means people can use it to do whatever they want with it. And so we want it in the same condition from our authors, that we are authorized to sell it, we are authorized to adapt it to something else, we are authorized. So if you're okay with that, just drop us an email. We'll continue this conversation by email and take some other questions that may be more specific to the learning aspect. I'll wait to hear from you. I'll explain it all to you, and welcome aboard. Like I said, now that you're part of us, you'll never be able to leave us. So we really look forward to hearing from you, and hoping that you can either help us with some of ours, or if you want a platform for yours, then we'll be happy to provide it to you.
Thank you so much. Yes, I'll be in touch. Thank you.
Yeah, info@hambaanglaang.hk. Just send us an email from our website, please. I'll wait for it. I'll wait for it.
Can I have one last question, please?
Yeah, go ahead.
Until the time. Yeah， 我諗我會講中文啦嚇，係啦，我諗我咧同阿 Kelly 咧可能咧都有興趣咧會幫Hambaanglaang咧寫下啲嘢嘅，咁寫下啲故事啊，即係如果可以咁可以咧 send 個 email 俾佢哋啦，咁當然係我哋小朋友如果係得閒嘅時候，即係佢哋返學啊咁嗰啲，我哋咧有啲時間咧可以幫下手嘅。咁其實我都係幫緊啲老師啦，幫緊啲老師啊同家長啦。咁啲家長咧同我咧都覺得咧會係有一個問題咧，就係即係頭先可能其實都有講到嘅，就係嗰個書面語咧同嗰個口語咧。都係呢個問題啦。咁因為其實我哋嗰啲課堂咧，其實都係教緊嗰個嘅書面語嘅。咁但係咧，其實我哋就好有興趣，啲家長都問好多都問。咁咧就想係個口語化係寫落個書面語嗰度嘅。咁我哋咧嘗試下咧，就係用呢一種方法咧，即係睇到你哋嗰個即係咁好嗰個嘅內容啦。咁我哋咧嘗試咧試下係將佢咧就擺落個書面語度，喺啲課堂又好啊，或者同啲 send 俾家長嗰啲又好啊。咁睇下會唔會可以用呢一種方式。咁個問題咧就係咁點樣可以即係個家長會覺得點樣可以將個書面語同埋嗰個口語化咧，等佢唔好咁混淆咯，兩種嗰個語言。其實有冇講到啊頭先？
我簡單講下咧，就係 有好多家長會擔心就係佢已經學咗口語嗰啲，佢咪唔識書面語咯。咁其實喺即係所有中文其實係好廣㗎啦，即係好多地方都係用，即係閩南話其實都係中文，上海話又係中文。我哋發現全世界語言，大家其實係好習慣咧，去揾出邊啲字係淨係我個地方講，第二啲人會聽唔明。例如係我相信喺英國都有好多唔同嘅 dialects，愛爾蘭都有好多唔同嘅 dialects，但係大家到佢哋要寫啲好正經嘅嘢，或者要寫一啲嘢去交俾政府，咁佢哋就知道哦 OK 呢個字係唔講得嘅，咁我嗰呢個 dialect 咧就唔可以用。咁所以咧其實細路仔由好細個已經有呢個能力。所以我會唔會咁擔心佢哋話分唔到？最緊要係如果佢識，咁嗰啲就係佢 vocabulary 嘅一部分，佢個 repertoire 嘅一部分。咁就佢哋慢慢就會知道，哦，原來呢個字咧，呢班人睇唔明喎，咁我下次唔用啦。咁係用 word 嚟做單位嘅呢一件事，所以佢哋識嘅詞語多係緊要過佢分得到邊啲係書面語，邊啲唔係書面語。咁我諗就希望呢一個可以釋除到家長嘅疑慮。咁而其實個 boundary 係好 fuzzy 嘅，即係並唔係大家諗到咁 clear cut。有好多係香港長大嘅人以為係口語嘅詞，其實喺北京喺上海都係好多人會寫。例如係得閒啊，係唔係個係啊呢一啲，其實喺書面語係成日用。但係香港嘅家長就會好驚，喂，好似聽落好口語唔用得，咁其實唔使太擔心嘅。咁就希望解答到你嘅問題啊呢一度。
係咁唔好意思啊，我今日把聲唔知做乜嘢。OK，因為嗰個即係你嗰個解答得好好啦。咁因為我個女咧其實8歲啦。咁佢都係識睇啲中文嘅，咁就唔係流利啦 ，it's not a fluent。咁但係咧，佢咧我而家咧就show 咗呢一本嘅拼音，即係嗰啲內容俾佢啦。咁佢就睇嗰啲嘅拼音咁樣嚟讀啦。咁我咧就即係有啲家長同我咧都會擔心一樣嘢咧，就佢會唔會咧冇即係唔會睇嗰啲即係中文字咁樣咯，即係佢睇咗個拼音啦。睇咗個拼音，但係咧佢就冇睇過中文字，好似識讀嗰本書，但係咧佢就冇睇，佢唔睇過中文字。我話咁咁樣啦，一係我下次咧就俾佢睇咗一次嗰個嘅即係個拼音啦，咁然之後咧就下一次咧就再俾佢睇個中文字咯，即係會花多少少時間去俾個小朋友去咁樣，令到佢哋會可能增加嗰個即係口語嘅都係。
呢一個咧我講少少就我唔會太擔心嘅，因為出面大部分嘅 material 係冇拼音喺度嘅，所以佢有機會接觸到 characters 嘅機會一定多過接觸到拼音嘅機會。所以我就會覺得唔一定要拎走佢呢一個輔助，呢個輔助就係佢哋睇呢啲書嘅時候就有呢個輔助。如果你想佢練習睇冇拼音嘅嘢，咁其實佢哋一定有機會嘅，只要佢哋嗰個中文水平去到一定程度咧，佢哋離開咗古仔書，去到例如睇報紙嘅時候，佢哋一定係有機會睇冇拼音嘅中文，所以我唔太擔心嘅。咁不過如果例如你話，我好想佢練習呢一本書嘅字漢字喎，冇咁攞張黏母紙黐一黐住佢，都係一個方法嚟嘅，即係短期咁樣遮住佢，等佢練習都可以。
好，唔該晒。
Yeah, Carmen, the other side, so you just fold the book and only show her the characters. So you don't have to, you can just, it's easy. That's why we put the Cantonese on one side, pure Cantonese, and this is the panel. So you have the option of only reading the one side if you want her to learn characters. But whatever you do.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Vivek 啱啱 drop 咗係咪？Just Vivek just dropped, I think.
Think it's freeze.
Okay,
connection problems.
Okay, I think he just ended the sentence. I think that's fine.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you very much.
I can see that Anna raised her hand. Anna, you've muted yourself. I can't hear you.
I don't
Kelly,
see
can you click the
any
ask to
hand.
unmute?
I don't see any hands up. And are there any more questions? Oh,
Kelly 啊
oh yes.
聽到啦，聽到，
聽到啦，
聽到，
聽到。
聽到，
係對唔
聽到，
住，係大家好，我係 Anna，聽到嘛？
聽到。
聽到。
我喺Oxford UK，咁我係牛津中文學校嘅，咁我好喜歡認識到你哋呢一部書，咁我哋嘅學生咧就係學廣東話啦，當然，但係我哋嘅目的咧就係希望能夠教到佢哋，除咗喺 oracy 之外咧，亦都能夠喺 literacy 嗰度有發展。咁我自己就覺得呢套書我可以用嚟做一個 foundation， 幫助啲學生由佢 oracy 轉去 literacy， 所以係非常一個好好嘅教學嘅工具。但係我現在俾阿 Dr. Lau 嘅問題咧，就係話，好似頭先有幾位朋友佢哋已經問咗啦，話寫呢個粵文唔係粵拼粵文，譬如好似話。我中意食呢啲嘢咁樣 ，OK， 咁你就係喺書本度你要寫咗我中意食呢啲，而我哋最後喺學校想教到啲學生咧，就係寫書面語啦。我喜歡吃這些東西，係咪？咁當然我喜歡即係粵拼咧，你哋嘅粵拼咧，其實可以幫助我哋一啲好年幼嘅小朋友。佢哋都能夠好流利咁樣睇到呢本書讀咗出嚟，咁所以係你哋嘅呢個著作係好大嘅成就。但係我嘅問題就係啦，喺我哋教學生嘅時候咧，咁你哋寫出嗰啲粵文，頭先我所講嘅我中意食呢啲，咁佢需唔需要認識呢啲粵文咧？或者我可唔可以淨係用呢啲粵文 almost as a stepping stone？For them to 學嗰啲漢字，我喜歡吃 ，instead of 我中意食。但係咧，我就想佢哋用你哋嘅粵文去學識點樣講廣東話，明唔明我嘅問題？我問題咧即係話，現在 on the face，what I can see is that what the material you produce are really excellent, and I think I'm so pleased that one of our parents.And I found there is a great potential for me to use that as a tool of instruction, of teaching the children who actually can ultimately, apart from speaking fluent Cantonese, can also subsequently develop into a fluent writer of Chinese. But by the same token, I actually analyzing the material that is in front of me using from what you have published, that apparently there are 3 steps, the oracy and then the Yutman and then the Xuminyu. So somehow, Dr. Lau, do you think it is okay if I actually contemplating of using Hambaanglaang, using it for the development of oracy for the students?And using the 粵拼 as the key tool for them to 講廣東話，流利嘅廣東話。咁跟住咧，由佢哋嘅口語，然後教到佢哋嘅書面語，明唔明啊？即係如果我又要佢哋學寫，要學認粵文嗰啲字，咁佢咪多咗個層次 ？Do you see my question? Yeah. So do you think that is something that you will support, or do you think that it somehow violates the principle of your books?
嗱，我覺得咧係冇違反我哋嘅原則嘅。咁我哋整書出嚟個目的就係整一啲好嘅工具俾大家用。而大家學中文、學廣東話，大家嘅目標未必一樣。如果某啲學生嘅目標係我要識講廣東話，同埋我要睇到書面語、中文嘅書面語，寫到中文嘅書面語，咁嗰啲粵語字嘅寫法其實係唔太重要嘅。佢哋見到認到，咁佢哋嘅漢字知識會多咗，咁當然有幫助。例如係平時佢哋好少見到食呢個字，因為食呢個字喺書面語用得少啲。佢哋早啲認識到食呢個字，咁應該係對佢哋日後學中文有幫助。但係真係少用嘅，例如話啊，我要唔要佢默書要學識寫個嘅字，要學識寫個果字呢？咁我就會覺得係冇需要嘅。咁亦都如果話係我完全跳過，例如廣東話嘅成分，我淨係用粵拼叫佢哋記咗嘅啫。我唔要求佢哋辨認到嗰啲廣東話嘅字，其實係冇問題。而其實呢個策略我哋係有用嘅。有時候學生學中文嘅時間唔夠長，或者係佢哋好急住要學銜接學校課程，其實我哋唔會逼佢學廣東話嘅粵語字嘅寫法，因為嘥時間啊嘛，因為唔係即時需要。咁但係點解會擺喺係啦？但係點解要擺喺度咧？因為其實佢哋係有一啲 context 咧係需要用到呢啲字嘅。例如係如果佢同香港嗰個關係會密切啲，例如屋企有好多人喺香港，有好多親戚喺香港，咁佢哋日常收到嗰啲短信嗰啲 WhatsApp message 咧，其實係會寫呢一種我哋用喺度嘅粵文嘅呢一種形式。咁如果佢有呢個需要嘅話，咁我哋亦都提供咗嗰啲字，我哋 provide 咗呢一個written Cantonese 嘅寫法俾佢，佢哋有需要嘅話就可以學，都係我哋提供晒，然之後大家學乜嘢，或者老師覺得小朋友需要學邊一樣先咧，咁就要交俾老師嘅專業判斷啦。
非常之好，係你頭先講個係一個都重要一個重點，就係譬如同香港嘅親戚，佢哋用短信，佢哋係會用口語化嘅粵文去寫，係咁，所以亦都有佢哋嘅相當嘅地位。OK， 唔該晒。
好，多謝你嘅問題。
OK，好開心，因為我 send 咗個invitation to a few Chinese schools in the UK, but I didn't send it to Oxford Chinese school. So Anna 校長好開心你揾到我哋。
我日後我哋嘅家長阿坤都可能都係喺呢個聽眾呢個Zoom 之內，係教佢兩個女由嗰度咧就睇到你呢套書咧對小朋友佢哋嘅口語係認識係非常之好。咁佢哋而家可以自己讀書，咁然之後咧我教嘅時候咧就係可以即係由口語轉做書面語。首先用佢講咗先，用廣東話講完，然之後譬如好似話頭先我用個例子咧，我好中意食呢啲嘢，係咪？咁我如果書面嘢我點寫啊？又開始教佢哋咯。我很喜歡吃這些東西，咁然之後咧，第二個即係睇下佢哋嘅興趣啦。好似頭先 Dr. Lau 又講過，係咪？佢哋興趣如果佢能夠掌握到咧，就會教佢哋寫中文。咁我同時亦都用另外一本書，就係基礎漢字500嗰個咧，又係用 bilingual 嘅方法，就係教小朋友佢哋認書面語。所以呢啲就係我哋學校即係用嘅教材。但係好高興能夠認識到你哋呢一套書，覺得係好有用。多謝你哋。
多謝晒 Anna。 just conscious the time is the meeting's been like one hour and a half, and also like the Hong Kong team right now is like 7:30 in the evening on a Saturday, so thank you so much for giving up your time to give us this great presentation and Q&A session. So can I suggest that if you have any more questions, please reach out to the Hambaanglaang team in Hong Kong, and you should be able to find their contact details from their website. And also I think there's some links also being typed in the comment area. Is there any like final words from the Hambaanglaang team, from Vivek, from Dr. Lau before we close the meeting? Thank you so much for your efforts. I'm sure like lots of parents and educators across the world are so thankful, so grateful that you guys created such an amazing materials for you know, parents and teachers like us. Thank you.
Well, I just wanted to point out that there's more than 100 volunteers who contribute to this project, and I will communicate your thanks to them. We are looking for Bitcoin millionaires. If you know any Bitcoin millionaire who wants to donate towards creating more foundational resources in Cantonese, please convince them to donate to us. We'll be very helped by that. But things are going well. Thanks for buying our books. Thanks for using the materials. Please remember, you do not need any permission from us to use them in any commercial context. Please feel free to use them the way you see fit, under fair use principles. And please give us your feedback. We have an endorsement form. If you like our materials, please endorse us, share your experience so that others can learn how you're using them, and point us in the right direction. We do not want to reinvent the wheel. We just want to create the stuff that is missing so that we can work and plug into whatever is already good out there. So with the Billy Bala Club, I'm hoping we can set up some kind of an arrangement where we can work towards finding out what is missing and find the best in the business and put them all together so that people can have a one place where they can find everything. So thank you again for organizing this. We're very obliged. Thank you.
Thanks for organizing this, and thanks for your participation. I'm really happy that I could share our views with all of you.
Great, thank you. On that note, I'll close the meeting and wish everyone a great weekend, and hopefully we'll see you around in all various Cantonese communities.
Thank you.
祝你過年新年進步，
就嚟過年啦，新年快樂，
心想事成啊！大家好，
新年快樂，
新年快樂，
身體健康。
好，
新年快樂，
新年快樂，
新年快樂，最緊要身體健康。
係啊，
拜拜，
好，
身體健康，
拜拜，
拜拜，
拜拜。